If you're anything like me, you're somebody who thinks the weeds are kind of beautiful, resilient, wild, predictable yet unpredictable. But I know if you're also like me, you've taken one home and results were not what was expected. Sometimes they become more invasive than you hoped for, and some grow in other directions despite initial impressions. And I'm here to represent, you don't need to stop thinking weeds are beautiful. You're just looking for the ones that grow right alongside of you. And maybe you're not always as close every moment, but you find your way back to yourself, to each other, or not. But maybe we're all folks who are in self-honesty and therefore in deep honesty with other people about what we can offer and accept uncertain endings, but certain investment in our commitment to showing up honestly with conscientiousness for self and others. All inspired by the weeds growing in the spring yard, mulch. What I came on here to talk about was how, that was 222. How part of being in connection with me means that we face possibility. We choose possibility over predictability, peace over tradition, growth over familiarity, and authenticity over attachment. And ideally, all relationships, authenticity and attachment, right? But perhaps an attachment that doesn't need to invade or conquer in order to survive. You're the thriving kind. And thriving ain't always pretty. We have seasons of brown and yellow leaves, sleeping, dormancy, to protect our resources from the shifting seasons, extreme temperatures. Living in season. What does it mean to live in season? Well, we know the seasons, at least on Earth, and then also, depending on your hemisphere, they look different. Up here in the north hemisphere, is it northeastern? Something. Geography, not a strong point. We have a pretty good variation in all 4 seasons. But what if you just listened? Listen to your inner season. What if you learned about how to speak that language of your body, your intuition, and combine that with what's in front of you, right? Fact checking in front of you. Do all the things align? And if all the things don't align, something doesn't jive, something lacks integrity, one of those elements in this season, that's an opportunity to pause, reflect, journal, learn how to listen and trust in your connection with spirit, synchronistic messages that hit you as deeply true. Sometimes that feels relieving, sometimes that feels heavy, sometimes it brings in some anxiety against what a lot of people sometimes say, like, oh, if you're anxious, then depends. I would be curious, like, if you're feeling nervous, getting curious about what message did you just receive and why are you anxious? Like, what's the messaging? The messaging is that you're taking away is like, oh, it's because I'm broken. I would be curious about that. Like, what parts of you feel like you haven't dealt with? Might you have a connection in your life that feels threatened by the truth bomb that just hit you? Maybe you just don't know what the next step is if something had to change, which you don't have to change. But I do think life gives you opportunities to shift towards greater opportunities. We just don't always like what those opportunities initially are. Like, these are like, oh, you just lost your job. We're like, I don't know if this long-term relationship is really going with me where I'm going. I'm afraid of that. Or maybe you're not even there yet. Maybe you're like, wow, if I'm really honest with myself, I wouldn't choose this life with this person or these people or this profession or be in this state. Whatever. But coming back to being in season, what does it look like to listen to yourself in this season? Allow yourself to pause and proceed after you've done some reflection and reflection on what you want, what feels right in your body, what lines up with your values and your vision. I think the scariest part of these conversations for people are like, not everybody's going to come with you where you're going. But that's not necessarily the only piece of your future coming in here. It's of your concern, but it's not. You know? People choose to come with you or not. Some people, it's not their chapter to come with you. Like, they have other things they need to work through in life. Because that's what the universe has brought them. That's what their free will has created. Intersections with, situations external and then chosen thereafter. But you can survive the hereafter of what was. Nothing really ever dies. Same thing with that energy. It doesn't die, it just takes a different form. Just like the nature, the seasons, what we think are dead are often just sleeping. And they come back differently in another season. Not on the human lifespan, because if you're lucky enough to live long enough, the time between one season and the next, between when you'd be able to reconnect in that relationship, if you're even supposed to. A lot longer, right? I can't diminish that. I think the question is, are you really you where you're at? Like who you really are? And if you're not, what are you doing there? And maybe we know some of those answers. Like, I know why you're there. Sometimes a path is, part of our cross to bear, so to say. But what about free will? If something doesn't sit right, it's probably not. And I think that's an opening. It's an invitation. Your distress, your dis-ease, your disease is an invitation to a life that supports you. It's also an invitation for humans to create opportunities for caring for other humans who want to show up to being in connection. So in this spring season that we just entered, if you're noticing some things are falling away and dying as some other things are opening up, or maybe you haven't seen them open up yet, but you're certainly feeling things end. Are you going to choose to stay in connections that only want you to be there because of a fractile of who you are? Or are you going to leave space to explore, find, deepen connection with spaces that are curious about all of you? Or that can even hold space for that. Like, some people want to know, but then they don't know what to do with it. And then that's a space that you find that you maybe don't want to stay in. Like, you could, but you have to tune into your subjective experience of, like, do I want to wait? What's my threshold? And secondly, are you pursuing relationships that pursue you? I don't mean in the anxious way, like, oh my gosh, I feel guilty, I need to, like, make up for stuff. I mean, like, do you find that who you spend your time with, where you put your energy, the last 3 people you talk to on your phone or anywhere else, are those the people that you're really wanting to be spending your energy on? Are those the systems? And what is that? No, for me, something that I just have shifted really very consistently, probably the first time in my life, is if people that I've not reached out to, but like if I've invested in places, people, and things, and I realize I really wasn't coming back, like they weren't really showing interest or weren't available or whatever the story may be, I'm just not doing it anymore, And if you have an intuition to go ahead and do that, like, yeah, follow that. But I just would be minding patterns and seeing what opens up for you. I'm finding all the seeds I planted last year and the work that I've done and on myself, I'm finding myself being sought after now after not doing as much of that, But you got to be willing to sit in that space between losing, grieving, and staying in your integrity to what you want in your life. And that spaciousness may feel really big for a while, but there's possibility there. And you get to choose. And I'm learning to choose me and take my inner yellow lights, my hesitations, I've learned for me, that's just a stop. It doesn't mean I won't come back to it if it resonates, but I know for me, I would just run through these very subtle yellow lights again and again and again, and then I would be unhappy because for all intents purposes, it looked like it was a great fit. There was synchronicity, but no, that alignment was a nuanced lesson. And it's not always mean and nasty and like scary. It's just like, oh, that did not grow the way I wanted it to. And I realized it's because I didn't listen to my inkling, No shame. An inkling is a seed. Some things will grow and will water and nurture, give some sun, give some space. Some things we won't, and that's how we learn. I think that's all she wrote. Go ahead and give me a follow. I'm new to this thing, and I have a special gift for you if you sign up for my list. It's like a double tier gift. You'll get a guided video. Gives you a little snapshot into my soul work for next chapter transitions. And the part 2 is you get a special discounted follow-up after that meditation. Just a little, it could be like 30 minutes, cheaper than anybody else can get it, and you only can get it when you sign up for emails. I won't spam you. Emails are a lot of work. I don't do junk because I'm all about quality over quantity. That's how I roll. Hope to see you soon.